And welcome back. When we talk about the experience, because a lot of people, they come out of college, and I experienced this as well. You have all the credits,
Mhm,
but they say, where's your actual experience? Where's your internships? Did you apprenticeship
mhm,
somewhere? And a lot of people don't have that. And that's actually my experience because I went to school in Kansas.
mhm.
I got my 2-year degree there. I was interning at a TV station, a small TV station. They gave me a job, $7 an hour, whatever. I moved back to Oklahoma and
Mhm,
nobody wanted to give me a job.
mhm,
They said, you don't have the proper experience.
mhm.
So maybe you can elaborate on that point as people need to understand when they go through these degrees, it's not just the piece of paper, it's the experience that goes along with it that's actually going to get them the job.
Absolutely. And I definitely recommend that a person do an internship. Some colleges, they kind of have it within their program. Other colleges, they don't even mention it.
Mhm.
So you graduate and you think you're highly qualified, got this shiny degree, and no one will give you a chance because you don't have the experience. So when it comes to internships, there are several different options. Now, if you want to do something in the nonprofit sector in which you don't have to work for, you don't have to actually study nonprofits, but for example, if let's say you get a degree in environmentalism.
Mhm.
So what a person can do is they can go to a website like idealist.org and they can find paid internships about environmentalism. Now, those internships are going to be not based on nonprofit organizations, but they could be great ways to get some experience that could supplement which is theoretic academics.
Now, we talked about how to, get the better job if you have the employment, but what a lot of people are experiencing now is they get out of college and there's not even a job in their field.
Mhm.
Their field is shrinking or, the requirements go up and up. It used to be associate's degree, now it's a bachelor's degree, now it's a master's, and then eventually a doctorate. I know people, they need to have a bachelor's degree just to have an internship running coffee and running the fax machine. So how does somebody combat this unemployment system?
Absolutely. So internships is one. And what's funny is there's actually some paid internships that actually pay more than entry level jobs. Google is an example. A lot of people are trying to always apply for Google internships because they're one of the most high paying and they tend to pay more than a lot of entry level jobs. So that's just one. Another one is volunteering. So if you're living with your parents and you really don't have no responsibility and you really have no bills, well, that could be a good option as well. You could volunteer for, let's say, a nonprofit organization for maybe about a summer, maybe several months to get that experience. And then by the end of that term, they may actually give you a position to work for their company. So that's another one. There's a lot of different ones. We talk about apprenticeships. Apprenticeships is another one to be able to. Now, this is like if you're doing like blue collar work. So if you're doing something like you're like an electrician, if you're like a plumber or you're something like that, which actually those jobs are still in demand.
Definitely.
No one wants to do them, but they're still in demand. They actually pay well. So you could do your apprenticeship for a year, and then once you get your license or your certification, you become a journeyman, and then you can work by yourself and kind of have your own career.
Yeah, and I'm glad you touched on that, talking about the plumbers, the other type of trades, or even people who drive garbage trucks. I understand those guys make a decent amount
They
of
do.
money. And when I was in Oklahoma, I knew a guy. He worked at one of the local casinos as what do you call those guys? The valet.
Uh-huh.
And those guys made more in tips than the managers did working at the casino.
For sure.
So, that's another aspect that a lot of people, they don't really quite understand, a lot of the young people. And I mean, I'll tell anybody to the face, the young people, they ask me about school or whatever else. And I say, well, take the time to really sit back and reflect on this. Ask somebody who's telling you to go to college, ask them what their student loan debt is.
Mhm.
And if they don't want to tell you that, then take that into consideration.
Mhm.
Because I'll tell them straight up, man, I left school with about $6,000 in student loan debt. Most people don't have that.
Mhm.
A lot of the people telling them to go to the big state schools and spend all this big money, they're still paying on their student loan debt.